Hi guys, it's New Jersey Garden. I wanted to do a quick April garden tour just to show you what's popping up in the garden. These are some hyacinths that I've had in this little garden by my deck for years, and they just started to bloom. The fragrance is very nice. And in this little garden bed I have a bunch of peony plants. Those are the red stalks that you see. I have a perennial alyssum called Basket of Gold, and that's in the front. That'll be a bright yellow. And then over here I have a ground cover. It's just phlox, just starting to flower. There's a poppy back there. And then over here I have a very large shrub. It's a lilac. It's called a sensation lilac, and a couple of years ago the center of the shrub died and I had to cut those branches out, but as you can see, a couple new branches have been sprouting out from the center. So even though it does look a little funny without the middle branches, I might just let it go and just see if those new center sprouts will become bigger, and maybe this will fill out the plant a little more. But the thing that's great about this year is, I think because we had such a cold winter, I have so many blooms on this lilac shrub. It'll be just about a week and then I'll start getting blooms on this. Right now it's April 15th, and these are what the lilac looks like before it blooms. And then over here I have some daylilies and some daffodils that I planted last fall. And then over on this side I have a lot of sweet william in here, along with some daylilies and some daffodils. I think I planted 60 daffodil bulbs last fall. Over here, this is a red twig dogwood, and I got this as a really tiny bare root last year, and I got about 6 of these, and this is the biggest one. And in the winter this was a bright red color. It's just starting to leaf out. I think this plant gets really big, so I don't know if I'll be leaving it here or moving it to a new spot. I'm getting a lot of mulch tomorrow, so I'll be mulching and weeding. There are just a lot of weeds. I'm kind of overwhelmed with the weeds, but I do need to mulch, and that will help with the weeds. So I'll just show you what's been happening. We just have some daffodils here. This garden bed has a lot of spring blooming flowers like poppies. There's a lavender plant. There's more poppies. These are some white fragrant oriental lilies. And last fall I planted some iris. So there's one iris right there. And I'm hoping this is the other iris. I'm not sure, but I did plant 2. There's some yarrow in this garden bed. There's another lavender plant. This really nice shrub here is a crepe myrtle, and it's the last thing to leaf out in the spring. It takes a really long time to leaf out. Over here I have a lot of liatris, and what you see on the ground here is brown-eyed Susan, and I end up thinning this out. Brown-eyed Susan is a biennial, so the mother plant ends up dying, but then I get a lot of seedlings every spring. And I only let a handful of them develop into full plants, because it really it's hard to keep up with the seeds, even though I do deadhead the plant. So I get a lot of brown-eyed Susans. And then this here is a lilac. I removed a red cedar tree. It was a small red cedar tree. I had some trouble digging it out, so this will all be covered over by some fresh soil and some mulch. The deer have already been nibbling on the daylilies, so I'll be spraying them through the season with deer repellent. Just a lot of plants starting to sprout up. I think over here we have the clematis is just starting, and there's some lupin right there. There's the clematis, and I stake it up with this wooden stake here. Last year I planted some rose campion, so that's rose campion right there and right over there. And then over here I have a lot more peony plants. I think I have 8 or 9 peony plants. This is a shady area, and I have to weed all of that. That's all weeds right over there. There will be a bunch of daffodils blooming here. There's a little bit of geranium right there, and more rose campion. And I am excited that the coneflower started to spread a little bit. I have a cluster of coneflower right there, and it started to spread. So I have a new cluster here and over here. And there's more rose campion. And then all over here is black-eyed Susan. I have a biennial type of black-eyed Susan that's on the ground here, and then there again is the ground cover phlox. So I'll just do a panoramic view of the garden. This is an old dogwood tree. It ends up being like dark pink leaves. It's very pretty. But I do have so much weeding to do. I'm a little overwhelmed, and I'll be trying to tackle that tomorrow morning along with adding mulch. But this is what the garden looks like in mid-April. And just to give you a status update of my container situation, my alyssum started to germinate. This container did not. It rained so much, and I realized this container didn't have holes poked in the bottom of it, so the seeds just got soaking wet, and I think I see one little one little seedling. So at least I have some alyssum over here in this container. And then this large planter has lettuce seeds, but as you can see, we have a couple squirrels that get in here. I need to put hot pepper flakes to deter the squirrels. As you can see, there's a nut right there. But this is a couple different types of lettuce that I had heavily seeded just about 2 weeks ago. So it is coming up. I do the cut and come again style of harvesting lettuce, where I plant my lettuce seeds close together and then harvest the seeds when the leaves when they're small, rather than growing big heads of lettuce. So the squirrel has done some damage here, so I am going to sprinkle some hot pepper flakes to deter the squirrel. And I wanted to give you guys an update on the pea seedlings. I planted about 30 peas a couple weeks ago, and they're just starting to sprout now. So I'll show you guys the process of putting mulch down on the garden. I'm going to start that process tomorrow. And my husband rented an edger, and I'm excited. I've never used an edger before, so I'm going to try to edge the garden using this edger tool that he rented. So I'll show you guys that in my next video. Thanks so much for watching.